series that has been consistently recommended to me has been the Mira Nair directed 6-episode series called A Suitable Boy. Based on the book with the same title written by Vikram Seth, the close to 1400-page novel has been condensed into 6 episodes. The series focuses on the quest of a widowed mother to find, as the title clearly suggests, a suitable boy for her daughter Lata. The candidates include the poet-cum-cricketer from the University of Brahmpur, Kabir Durrani, the simpleton shoemaker Haresh Khanna, and the eccentric and confident poet from Kolkata Amit Chatterjee. Who fits the bill for Lata to eventually get married forms a part of the series. We also get a glimpse of the new India, immediately after gaining independence. While the country should be in merry and geared towards prosperity, the partition on religious grounds also has caused extreme communal disharmony. From the political and noble aspirations of Mahesh Kapoor to the doomed romance of Maan and Saida Bai, A Suitable Boy packs a lot for you to imbibe and register. Here's me telling you the good and bad aspects of the series so that you guys can ultimately decide whether this series is worth your time on Netflix or not. Production design and costumes. What I don't think anyone will contest is that this series is a visual spectacle. While its portrayal may still be restricted to the upper echelon of society who are dwelling in mahals and wining and dining with the elite, it does visually present the new India and the dichotomous society it truly was. In many ways still is, having aspects and values of both conservatism as well as modernism. Production designer Stephanie Carroll has done a phenomenal job in her frames. The attention to detail really lifts this piece visually. You will truly be enamored by each set and the way it's designed, and knowing from interviews that this creative project had a limited budget also makes you appreciate the vision to innovate with limited resources. The costumes as well by Arjun Bhasin are to be lauded. Time specific and in no means over the top. The color palette and simple yet elegant designs dependent on the locations as well as the economic position of a character is presented perfectly. Language, accent, and rigidity. This, in my opinion, is one of the biggest reasons why people may deter from watching this series at all. It's important to understand that this series was intended for the BBC and therefore it is catered to an international audience. The problem is not only restricted to just the language in which this show communicates, but the way it has been performed. Some of the characters coming across as if they have just learned the language, pronouncing each consonant with such ferocity as if to prove to the international audience that we too can speak their language. Moreover, I don't think you should take the risk of listening to the Hindi dubbing because it is absolutely atrocious. Many of the voices not even performed by the actors themselves, making a goldmines Hindi dubbing of a Telugu film come across like music to the ears. This rather jarring accent ebbs and flows with Tanya, but is extremely prominent with characters played by Mahira Kakkad, Lata's mother, almost painful to the ears, and other supporting actors as well, who otherwise never falter like Manoj Pava and Shabana Goswami. The text from the book has also been borrowed to be performed verbatim in many sequences, which lends to a great reading experience for the mind to wander and imagine, but provides this sense of rigidity in the natural flow of conversation between characters. Dialogues include phrases like "I shan't," "you mustn't," and "you haven't a chance," as if transporting us to a play in the Globe Theatre rather than the University of Brahmpur. I was getting flashbacks to the Britishers in Thugs of Hindustan trying to speak in Hindi, as extras in A Suitable Boy attempt to mouth English dialogues. More on the problems of adapting a classic like this in my conclusion. The music. Before I rave about the beautiful music in this series, I have to say that the trailer and the choice of music in its first look was completely off-putting to the theme of the series and what it represents. The series has beautiful Urdu poetry that has been transformed with enchanting music of Alex Hafiz and Anushka Shankar. It actually better represents the mood of the series, quite superior to the pop jingle that was associated with the trailer. The music is brilliantly guided by the beautiful voice of Kavita Seth. If you follow the channel, you may remember me sharing the marvelous rendition of Rangasari created by Ma'am and her son Kanishk. Trust me, the music is one thing that you may search for after watching this series. The spectrum of performances. What perplexed me the most regarding this series is the sheer range of performances. How the same series can have such hammy performances by legends while at the same time have some gems as well. It was uncomfortable to see Manoj Pava play the role of a disgusting and entitled Raja. While he encapsulates the essence that is intended to be vile, his accent especially really puts you off. Another hit and a miss, I have to sadly say, is Lata's mother, played by Mahira Kakkad. Her exasperation and anxiety becomes borderline irritating, contrastingly different from how she comes across in the book. While Mira is restrained in a few moments, her loud pitch really doesn't do wonders in convincing the audience of her performance. You have the best talent you can think of in this series, but many are either underutilized or are poorly fleshed out. I mean, come on, you're condensing a 1400-page novel into 6 episodes. You can't justify expanding about all the characters. This includes talents like Vijay Varma, Vijay Raz, Randeep Hooda that just oozes sex by the way, and disappears, Ranvir Shorey, who in his Hindi dialogues is convincing, but borderline sounds like Apu from The Simpsons while communicating in English. Who stole the show? The veterans in the game include actors like Ram Kapoor and Amir Bashir. They have such a command over their dialogues and possess such maturity in their performances that I could not find a single moment in which they faltered. Rasika Dugal, similarly as Lata's sister, provides such a grounded in reality approach as she consoles her sister. Tabu is absolutely magnetic and beautiful as Saida Bai. I and you had no doubts that she would be convincing. Heck, she's one of the best we have in India. The 3 suitors, Namit Das, Danish Razvi and Mikhail Sain do a praiseworthy job. But it is the other young men and women, and one performer especially, that truly stole my heart. Tanya has had an inspiring acting journey from Flames to a Mira Nair project. Tanya's smile can literally light up a room. She really does possess the charm, wit and elegant beauty of Lata, we know from the book. While her accent may transition to sound rather harsh to the ear in moments, she has done a phenomenal job in wanting the audience to care for Lata's ultimate fate. Ishaan Khatter, honestly dude, hats off to you. If you're listening, these are the unique choices that the audience wants to see from you. While many purists of the book may argue that he does not possess the physical presence that Maan represents, Khatter, according to me, is the perfect fit. He is playful, exuberant, lively and vulnerable. Lost in the eyes of Saida Bai, it is Maan's personal journey that I was the most invested in. His helpless obsession with the Tawayef, his constant tussle with his father who is not amused of his philandering ways, and his ride-or-die friendship with Feroz, played brilliantly by Shubham Saraf. Khatter has honestly given the best performance of his career. But who stole the show, Jamie? According to me, it is Geeta Agarwal Sharma as Mrs. Kapoor, Maan's mother. The only actor, by the way, the only actor who speaks in Hindi throughout the series. She lends such emotional depth to the care and empathy that only mothers can possess. I saw myself breaking down each time she shed a tear. She never came across as overbearing, and through each passing moment, I could only think of praise while writing this piece for her. The perils of adapting a classic. Going back to the language and communication barrier, the problem with the series is that it can easily switch its pitch from being a Gurinder Chadda Bride and Prejudice to a Mira Nair piece. Its problem is that it is catered towards an international audience, and therefore from an Indian viewer's point of view, especially those who have read the detailed and classic Vikram Seth novel, you can sniff from a mile away the absence of nuances that act as such a roadblock for the story to soar. Let's take for example the communal representation in the series. It's important to understand that the book was published in 1993 after the Babri Masjid demolition, and therefore Seth created a fictionalized take with the same sentiment based in 1951. But compared to the context, history, and layers provided in the book, the series casually brushes the otherwise quite complicated case of communal disharmony with a broad stroke. There are many beautiful dialogues or shairi translated into English as well that come across as blasé and don't possess that X factor to have an impact. The key to an adaptation of a classic is who you are speaking to. The reason why Shakespeare adaptations of Vishal Bhardwaj work so well is because of his ability to transform the text into an Indian context, so that even an Othello and Haider in Uttar Pradesh or even Kashmir respectively will speak and have an impact with the Indian audience. A Suitable Boy comes across as mere highlights to a classic novel, whose readers will be thoroughly disappointed with this adaptation. It is a creative piece meant for the international audience that, fate has it, we get to see. But rather than getting enamored, which I'm sure most of the West already is, we can dissect it further and understand where this creative piece has faltered in developing an accurate and well-designed adaptation. I would be lying to you if I told you I didn't break down in moments of this piece, especially the ones pertaining to Maan's personal journey. But when the main plot itself, which is the quest to find Lata's suitable boy, eventually becomes quite half-baked, you tend to wonder, just the magnitude of material the creators had to condense into 6 episodes. Maybe, just maybe, it was all a bit too overwhelming for them. And that was the video, guys. Write it down in the comments below what you thought about the series. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram. The handle is right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.